So Barbie was my first client.
Yeah.
I totally ripped all her clothes out.
She's the worst again. Is she hard to work with? I feel like she would be a diva.
She had kind of a big mouth.
Welcome guys to our new episode. I'm Pavi, this is Nami, and we have a special guest today. We're back again to help you crush unemployment and survive it like a boss.
And today's topic, we are so excited. We're going to talk about dressing and image, and so we have certified image expert Sarah Shah, because who better to talk about all that stuff than Sarah? So
welcome Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
So let's give some context to our audience. Why are you here, Sarah?
So a lot of people talk about image as something very superficial and flighty, but what I found is image has a real profound effect on how we're perceived, but also how we behave. So for instance, have you ever met somebody and you thought they were one thing, but it turns out they were something different? Not good or bad, but you thought they were serious, it turns out they were hilarious?
Yeah.
That's an image that doesn't work.
Right.
There's some distrust that happens. So either you don't trust yourself because you wonder, do I not have the skills to read people right? Or were they misrepresenting themselves?
Right.
And that causes some disconnection that takes some time to overcome.
Yeah.
So when your image is really a reflection of who you are and what you do, people get you right away, the right opportunities come to you. When you feel great about how you look, you show up totally different. So it has a real impact on ourselves too, not just on the people around us.
Yeah, and I mean, just in case you guys are wondering, I mean, this could be applicable to anyone, whether you're unemployed or an entrepreneur or you're a student or underemployed, whatever it is, everyone needs to show up in the right way, right?
That's right.
So, Sarah, you yourself are a certified 9-to-5 misfit, like a lot of our viewers. So tell us your story. Like, how did you get to be Sarah?
So I came out of the womb really paying attention to how people's clothes fit them and how they were perceived based on how they presented themselves. I took a little detour into the corporate world for 15 years, and as I look back, I really see how I was noticing how people were perceived based on what they looked like,
right,
and how they presented themselves. So there were some really smart people that just got overlooked, and people didn't get that they were smart. Or there were people who were promoted and people thought that they really had their act together, and they didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I just was fascinated by that, how that perception could be so wrong.
Yeah. And when you had a traditional 9-to-5 job, was that anything related to what you do now or no?
Well, it's funny. I was an environmental consultant, so you wouldn't think that that had anything to do with image, but so much of what I learned there, I still apply now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you have this amazing book, guys. She wrote this, Dress Yourself Skinny.
So really this book is about finding the clothes that are flattering for your body. Going back to looking in the mirror and liking what you see. When you like what you see, you're going to behave so much differently.
Yeah.
That I found with my clients, they'd go into a store and just cry because they put on so many clothes and they just didn't look good on them.
Yeah.
What I did was I divided bodies into 10 different types and then showed with little pictures all of the styles and all of the clothes that are going to look good on your figure. So you can go into a store knowing only 10% of the clothes in there are going to look good on you,
right,
and which ones are, and just try those on.
So with unemployment, people tend to go down in a bad path. They don't worry about appearances, and they start worrying that with their budget they can't look right, and it's mainly because they don't feel right, right? It's a state of mind thing. So could you go into why body positivity and body image needs its importance, even when your state of mind is kind of low or your budgets are low?
Yeah, for sure. Part of being unemployed is being out in the world so that you can network and run into people and present yourself. And it's really about being in your power. It's really hard to be in your power when you're not feeling great about yourself. And we have a tendency, especially as women, to look in the mirror, see something we don't see, and then think we are morally bankrupt in some way and horrible people because of that. And having confidence is an important part of finding a job. So if it's exercising and lifting your endorphins that way, if it's wearing clothes that you really like, I think it also makes a difference that you're wearing clothes that help you with whatever you are doing. So for instance, when I'm writing, if I get out of bed, I'm off to do something else. For some reason, that's where I do my best writing. So I leave my laptop right there. I leave my pajamas on because I know that really works for me.
Yeah. Right.
So what do we have here, Sarah?
So one of your questions was what's appropriate to wear to work. So one way that people go wrong is showing too much skin. So especially if someone's coming out of college, which is a very, very casual environment, going to a work environment. So here's some examples of too much skin.
That's definitely
crop shirts, not so much. Skip the 3 cleavages.
okay.
This cleavage, the butt cleavage, and the toe cleavage.
Toe cleavage is one thing that no one thinks about.
Now, in some work environments, it's fine to show your toes and it's fine to wear sandals. But if you want to err on the side of being most conservative, then skip all 3 cleavages. So here's a top. I thank you for letting us raid your closet here. This is great. So here's a top that is basically an evening top, a casual top. And if you're going to wear it out, you would put a little bit of lingerie tape to keep it from exposing yourself. But for a work environment, this is really way too much cleavage. But if we stick a little, we have a little hidden cami under here. It's definitely better. Or you could put a pin here.
Yep.
And then one more fix is a jacket.
Yes. Some workplaces are okay with sleeveless, some are not. So it's always good to just have a backup, right?
Yes. So even if you just bring the blazer with you or wear the blazer in and then you can remove it. And then this one is completely appropriate. It doesn't show the outline of your figure too much.
Okay.
So anything that's tight like this is not going to work even if it is a dress. So you want to have a little bit of looseness. You can show a little of your figure, but not the whole thing. A sleeve is always a good idea. No cleavage. And this should come maybe just above the knee, but not a whole lot of thigh.
And what are your thoughts on maybe the color? I know some places this would be appropriate, some places not so much, right?
You know, this is where it's tricky. You really have to know the workplace.
Yeah.
So I think one of the easiest ways to figure out what's appropriate to wear is to go a few days before or even a week before your meeting and sit in the lobby during lunch hour or when people are coming from work in the morning, coming to work in the morning. That way you can see what is the norm for people to wear.
Tell us what's happening. What is wrong and what is right? Is there anything right?
So every culture has its norms of dressing.
Yeah.
So people in South America tend to wear their clothes more close to the body, tighter.
Right.
And people from Asia tend to wear their clothes more fuller,
Right.
away from the body, more tent-like, if you will.
Yeah.
Neither one of those is the norm here
For
in the U.S.
professional,
for professional clothing. So it's really important to know what the norms are. So if you're going to go work in South America, then you would wear your clothes a little tighter than you would here, so that you'd fit in there. So here's some examples of what is too tight for the norm here in the state. Be perfect for a social occasion, like gallery opening. It's a beautiful dress, just not work appropriate. Right? So it's a jersey material, it's quite thin, and it really shows the whole body. Shows the breasts, shows and even for a man, right? A sweater that's gonna really show his pecs. That's too tight for here.
Yeah, anything that kind of clings to your body and really hugs every silhouette.
Yes, or anything that's going to make your body spill out in some way. It's going to be too tight. So sexual harassment is very serious here, and people are sensitive to it on both sides. The person who would be accused of it and the person who would be on the receiving end of it, right? Some men are so sensitive about sexual harassment that anything that is body conscious on a woman makes them uncomfortable. And it's going to make them more standoffish, and it's going to be harder for them to feel comfortable working with you. So we don't think about it from their perspective. You know? So even as women, it's important, not that we ask for it, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that if we wear things that other people are going to feel charged and sensitive about, that is going to impact their working with us.
Yeah, and I mean, even if suppose, you are a woman who, without realizing it, are wearing something that's slightly tighter, you go to an interview and you realize that, oh my god, everyone around me is kind of dressed a little differently, a little more conservative, you immediately become conscious, right?
Here's just a little secret tip. I think it's always worth bringing a backup outfit. Because who knows, maybe you spill a little coffee on yourself on the way there, or you discover that what you're wearing is inappropriate in some way. Have a couple extra things in the car. Get there a little early, feel it out, and then you can always make an adjustment if you need to.
Do it. And what's going on at this party over here?
Right? So in Asian cultures, we see the norm to be a looser fit.
Right.
Something that doesn't show the body at all.
Right.
And here, that would be considered too loose.
Yeah. Right.
Right? Because it gives the impression that you're hiding.
Yeah.
That it seems sloppy.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you can't see that there's anything inside at all. And what you're wearing, so you guys are the after models. We're the little fours.
Yeah, we're the good ones.
You're the examples where you can definitely see that you have a body, but it's not too tight.
Right.
There's not too much cleavage, but you still have some skin showing. That's fine.
Yeah, we're winning.
So, as you may have noticed, we have a variety of mannequins. So, Sarah, could you tell us what the different occasions are for these different types of shirts we have on display?
Sure. So this shirt would be too casual for a work environment. This is a more social shirt, a weekend shirt, mow the grass shirt.
Also, what are your thoughts on V-necks for men?
I think a man can get away with a V-neck for sure, just so long as you don't have hair sticking out, or it's not so low that now your cleavage is hanging out. All right, so this is a polo shirt, and a polo shirt is a knit shirt, and for a work environment it would be ironed. But today it's not ironed. So this you would definitely want to have the first button buttoned.
Okay.
Having it open a little bit is fine. This will work for a business casual environment. Typically, if you're working maybe outdoors in one of the trades, having it untucked would be fine.
Okay.
But if you're working indoors in a more corporate environment, even if it's business casual, your shirt's always going to be tucked in with a belt. All right. And then, so whenever you wear a jacket, you always want to make sure that the collar of the shirt is inside.
Yes!
So for social occasions, you can have it outside, but for work, the collar always goes inside.
Yeah, that looks a lot more professional. So guys, now you know. Always tuck when you're indoors. No man cleavage, please. And collars always inside. You know who you are.
So guys, that was our episode with Sarah Shah. We really hope you enjoyed her, especially for people with different professional backgrounds and different cultures, men, women, the old, the young, whoever you may be.
Yeah, I know, it was so nice for her to like bring all those visuals, because then it's so much easier to tell like what's good to wear and what's not good to wear. But anyway, good news is if you feel like we didn't cover everything that you wanted to hear, do email us, send us all your burning questions, because we do plan on having Sarah back at a later time to talk about more good stuff. And in the meantime, you know, if you want to get in touch with her either online or you want to work with her, we have all of her information below. So either check this banner right here or the show notes.
And if you are like still feeling your need to connect with us, do subscribe. Okay, do it now. Don't forget to check us out on social media as well as bizlatte.com, where you can find a ton of resources on how to dress professionally.
Yes. Hashtag shameless plug. We actually have an entire guide called How to Dress Professionally, one for men and one for women. So there you go, kiddos.
Yep, and we'll see you next week with a brand new episode.
Bye.